Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be talking about massive news of the G20 potentially being set to use Quant, and we'll also be discussing how the IMF is also being at the center of implementing and utilizing Quant's innovations. So before we get into today's main story, I'd like to show you a video which goes into detail and provides insights in regards to how the wide-scale rolling out of DLT technology across the world will impact the usage of Quant, and how the mainstream usage of blockchain technology will mean that Quant will become integral in global infrastructure.
There's so many real-world use cases of successful blockchain implementations across various industries now. And those supply chain traceability examples starts with diamonds, but goes as far afield as textiles and food traceability, with large providers such as IBM and SAP all have maturity in the space now. Let's just go to the next point. So I guess the most important role is blockchain is a network technology. So therefore, collaborative networks play a pivotal role in ensuring and driving the adoption and the success within industry, whether it be the battery industry, PGMs, or critical minerals. And the importance of industry collaboration and ecosystem partnerships can't be overstated. We've seen so many attempts by technology companies where really there's only one or two participants on chain, or it's a complete closed loop environment. Now, by coming together, stakeholders can leverage that collective expertise, the resources and influence and overcome challenges. And a consortia approach has typically worked well, where we can dedicate advancing blockchain adoption and standardization as they are key drivers of progress. Now, these collaborative efforts bring industry players, government bodies, research institutions, technology providers to the table. And as I said before, it's really policy that becomes the large driver that enables that consortium to be coordinated. And within those consortiums, we start to see the setting of industry standards, the fostering of interoperability, and creating this environment that's conducive to a wider spread blockchain implementation. No longer is it a technology challenge with blockchain. It is certainly a challenge as we begin to understand the physical to digital connection, that secured chain of custody event handling, where arguably in a refinery process, there is no one solution, technology solution that can provide for a material, unbroken chain of custody. So there has to be both the marriage of the technology in a physical world with the digital science, as well as material science to help us enable that traceability effort.
So, as detailed by the video, DLT is looking increasingly likely to become more integrated into developments, especially financial developments around the world. So this is coupled with our main story today, where in a fantastic thread put together by Encash, he noted to how the G20 are set to harmonize of API protocols to contribute to the G20's cross-border payment program. So the rolling out of a API gateway harmonization process by the G20 is also coupled with the G20 also stating that global crypto regulation is set to occur by 2025. And as stated by Encash with his own commentary, he stated that it's all aligned perfectly for utility to take over and for the world to integrate blockchain and DLT. So this all connects to the previous clip where, as regulation is almost certain to be rolled out in the near future now, the adoption of DLT as well as crypto projects will become increasingly more important, and the projects mainly centered around utility look most likely to become adherent from the negative impacts of regulation and become more widely utilized into everyday infrastructure. So the G20 actually highlighted to how they are set to standardize API protocols for the harmonization of their cross-border payment infrastructure, where in a part of an article provided by the G20, it stated, assist in the evaluation of proposals for a set of API standards that will utilize one or more of the existing protocols as appropriate to ensure interoperability of cross-border information exchange. So this means that API gateways will be required to enable the utility of one or more existing protocols to enable cross-border information to be exchanged at a given time. So the article went into further insights and provided further details where it stated greater harmonization of APIs used in cross-border payments, and development of long-term global governance proposals and process to continue updating harmonized API requirements. So, as stated by Encash in his thread, regulation is looking likely to become a reality by the end of 2025 across the DLT sphere. So with regulation almost certain to be carried out in the near future, this will give the likes of the G20 greater leeway and a policy to act where they may utilize crypto and DLT projects which aren't actively burdened by regulation. So one project which could be directly utilized in this initiative is Quant's overledger ODAP offering. Where, as we've mentioned on this channel on a continuous basis, Overledger's ODAP offering is a universal API gateway that enables varying networks with varying backgrounds to interact, and this isn't limited to DLT. So this all connects to the G20 stating that they are set to implement and develop a API standard which is consistent to existing protocols, which will speed up cross-border information exchange. So the active utility and rolling out of Overledger's protocol into these developments will mean that information can be seamlessly exchanged with legacy infrastructure to potentially future DLT infrastructure, which is almost certain to become more incorporated into a number of industries around the world. So with the potential for Overledger becoming a centerpiece in the authorization and validation of actions, especially in view of the exchange of datasets cross borders, this could make Overledger a highly attractive proposition and Quant's utility increasing over time. So with the potential for the G20 potentially utilizing Quant's Overledger API gateway, this is coupled with other large mainstream organizations also looking to roll out and implement API gateways and other DLT innovations for themselves. Where unlike the G20, the IMF have actually openly stated that they are looking to implement some of Quant's use case and innovations and other DLT protocols, where in a paper published by the IMF in 2020, they discussed how DLT will become more integral into payments and settlements. And this all draws onto the IMF actually being connected to Quant. When a paper and article published by Gemini, where the article was entitled Quant, Web3 Enterprise Interoperability via Overledger, where the article went into further insights and detail, where it stated that Quant's MLT technology, or its multi-ledger token stablecoin, is set to be leveraged by the IMF for use with CBDCs that are sent to and from and operate on many distinct blockchain and legacy-based platforms. So the article continued and mentioned, multi-ledger tokens have the potential to be utilized for numerous blockchain and financial uses, which will continue to expand as the utility of the technology grows and new business models emerge. So with the IMF already stating that they are looking and seeking to roll out and implement Quant's MLT stablecoin into a number of initiatives, especially surrounding cross-border payment authorization in view of the rolling out of future CBDCs, this will go a long way in enabling the ability for blockchains and legacy-based platforms to interact, especially in view of CBDCs. So with Quant actively having a direct partnership with the IMF, coupled with Quant also potentially being at the centre of developments associated with cross-border harmonisation and API utility by the G20, this could be quite significant for QNT token holders. So another big story I'd like to talk about is how Quant is actively collaborating with the Bank for International Settlement and the Bank of England for a API gateway project known as Project Rosalind, where the article initially highlighted to how the Bank for International Settlement are actively conducting research surrounding API protocols to contribute to the G20 cross-border payment program. So with the Bank for International Settlement having a strong association and affiliation with the Quant team already, and with Quant being used as an API framework in Project Rosalind, which again was a collaboration between the Bank for International Settlement, the Bank of England and Quant. This all connects to how the G20 may actively see Quant's partnership with the Bank for International Settlement as an attractive proposition, and the G20 may choose to utilise Quant's use cases for their very own cross-border payment program where again API harmonization will be required. Yeah, so the Bank for International Settlement and the Bank of England actually highlighted to how the Project Rosalind experiment was a resounding success. So it indicates how Quant's use case has been highly beneficial and highly attractive by these extremely prestigious organizations. So extremely exciting, and it adds to a list of exciting initiatives surrounding Quant, and it all points to how Quant may be at the center of CBDC initiatives around the world. But time will tell, and it will be exciting to see what other initiatives Quant will be involved in, especially surrounding the utility of its innovations for cross-border payments, API gateways, and CBDC infrastructure. So this diagram here illustrating overledger will become, I think, increasingly more noteworthy, especially as the DLT industry becomes more mainstream and the likes of Quant's use cases become more heavily utilized into a number of industries around the world, be it CBDCs, cross-border payments, or just general organizations choosing to harness the benefits DLT provides, as well as allowing for DLTs to interact with legacy infrastructure. So extremely exciting for Quant. And it'll be interesting to see if the G20 do choose to use Quant's overledger and other use cases, but again, time will tell. What are your thoughts on Quant? Do you think the G20 will use Quant? Let us know your views in the comments below. Thank you for watching Crypto Clan. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the notification bell. Let us know your views in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.